Alright guys, so continuing my award season coverage, today on the channel I'm going to be doing a deep dive discussion and prediction of one of the most challenging and exciting categories, not just of this year, but any year in Oscars history, and that is Best Actress 2023. In this category we have Cate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for Blonde, Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. If you've been following the Best Actress race as closely as I have, then you'll probably already be aware that this category is widely considered to be a two-way race between Cate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh. A battle of two extraordinary titans of the silver screen, both deserving, both in challenging, multilingual, career-defining roles which display both of their talents to the max. Just gonna say again for the record that I think that both these women are deserving of winning the Best Actress Oscar. End of. And it really is a super close race. Both Blanchett and Yeoh have won like loads of critics group prizes as well as a few precursor awards. I've got another video doing a deep dive of the Best Actor category this year. I'll leave a link to that video at the end of this one. And I've got another video coming up for Best Supporting Actress as well, so if you don't want to miss that, click subscribe. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of our two frontrunners for this category, we do have to ask ourselves an important question, which is, can any of the three remaining nominees surprise here? This whole race has been between Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett. At this point, I would say all the other ladies in this category are just happy to be here. They've merely been spectators in this race. But if we're gonna play devil's advocate and make an argument for one of them to surprise, Ana de Armas was playing an icon of the industry, Marilyn Monroe. Normally a role like that is Academy catnip, but because Blonde was so heavily disliked and because of the exploitative nature of the film, it'll be far too polarizing for the Academy to get behind. Ana de Armas is the Kristen Stewart of this year, a rising star ingenue actress receiving her first Oscar nomination for playing an influential historical figure. However, she's in a polarizing movie and she was the sole nomination for Blonde, so she's got no chance. Michelle Williams has had one of the most infamous award season journeys this year. She was touted as an early frontrunner for Best Supporting Actress after first reactions came out of TIFF. But when she announced that she was going to be submitting herself as lead actress for her role as Mitzi in The Fabelmans, despite public opinion saying she was supporting in the film, she effectively ruled herself out of the race. There's been a lot of confusion and debate about whether she is a leading or a supporting character in The Fabelmans, but she missed the SAG, she missed BAFTA, which kind of illustrated that people didn't know where to place her. She is a 5-time Oscar nominee with no wins yet, so she is kind of seen as overdue for recognition at the Academy Awards, but she's not gonna win for The Fabelmans. If she did win, it wouldn't age well because a lot of people consider it to be category fraud. But how much of a gag would it be to hear, and the Best Actress Oscar goes to Michelle Williams instead of Yeoh? God, film Twitter would riot. And then there's Andrea Riseborough, who many are claiming to be the dark horse of this race. I had to eat crow when I said she wouldn't be nominated for her grassroots campaign for her performance in To Leslie, and then she proved all us naysayers wrong and got the nomination. So yeah, she got the nomination. Could she win? Sorry, I don't see it happening because lightning doesn't strike twice. When she got the nomination, there was a bit of an uproar and a lot of discourse surrounding the nomination. Yeah, the fact that there was an investigation into her campaign tactics really illustrated that not everyone was happy about it, and it might be seen as too controversial to give Andrea Riseborough the win. The nomination, though, was a massive victory, okay? She changed the game. She defied the odds, but she also did take one of the spots of two black actresses who were heavily favored to be in this category, Daniel Deadwyler and Viola Davis. And a lot of people weren't happy about that. I'm glad that Andrea Riseborough has the nomination, okay? She deserves it. But even with all the vocal support of her celebrity friends, which succeeded in getting her the nomination, I don't see that translating into a win. Especially when, again, like Ana de Armas, she is the sole nomination for her film. So Andrea Riseborough should be happy with the nomination, okay? That is the victory for her. It was a miracle in itself, but it's not her time to win. It's all gonna come down to Cate Blanchett or Michelle Yeoh, and I mean to the wire. This category is a coin flip, it's 50-50, it's too close to call. But yeah, let's look at each nominee and discuss the good and the bad, what's working for them, what's working against them. First up is Cate Blanchett for her thunderous performance as orchestra conductor Lydia Tarr in Todd Field's Tar. What's working in Cate Blanchett's favor? Well, for starters, Tar did better than expected with Academy nominations. It got 6 in total, and all in key categories. So you got Best Actress, Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Editing, and Cinematography. That is an impressive package. That's like a Best Picture winning package. It definitely overperformed at the Oscars. People were not expecting it to do that well, myself included. So yeah, all those nominations indicate that the Academy really likes and respects Tar as a film. They're probably going to want to honor it where they can, and given that Blanchett kinda is Tar, like this movie belongs to her. I know this is Todd Field's film, but who are we kidding? Blanchett owns this movie, okay? It's her film, and they probably would want to honor it by honoring Blanchett. I also think it's more of an Academy-friendly type performance than Michelle Yeoh's is. Like, it's a character study of a complex woman in a thrilling drama about power and cancel culture, whereas Michelle Yeoh is the lead in a sci-fi comedy, which, let's face it, isn't really the Academy's cup of tea. They tend to gravitate towards movies and performances of a serious nature. And between the two, Cate Blanchett is probably perceived to have the more serious, prestigious, tasteful, and traditional performance of the two. She fits the mold better of a Best Actress winner at the Oscars. And in terms of precursors and critics wins, Cate Blanchett has the more intimidating and impressive package. She won the Volpe Cup out of Venice. Previous winners of the Volpe Cup, Emma Stone and Olivia Colman, went on to win the Oscar. She's won tons of critics prizes, including the big three, LA, New York, and National Society of Film Critics, as well as Golden Globes drama, and most importantly, she has the BAFTA. In the last 10 years, the Best Actress at BAFTA has gone on to win the Oscar 9 out of 10 times. The only reason it didn't match last year when Joanna Scanlon won is because none of the nominees were nominated at the Oscars. So yeah, BAFTA win is key. And even though we've had no official sweeper in any of the acting categories this year, Cate Blanchett is still the closest thing that we've had to a sweeper. She's won everything besides SAG. She also hasn't won an Oscar in 9 years. The last time she won was in 2014 for Blue Jasmine. Is 9 years enough time to justify giving her a third win? I'd say yes, because I wanted to give her the win for Carol, like the year after she won for Blue Jasmine. Now let's talk about Cate Blanchett's negatives, okay? What's working against her winning? Well, the main thing that's hurting Cate Blanchett is the fact that she's already won twice before and been nominated 7 times in total. If she were to win her third, making her the youngest person ever to win 3 acting Oscars at the age of 53, there would undoubtedly be some backlash that a white woman has won her third when a woman of color who has had an even longer career than her, spanning 5 decades, and has been passed over for recognition numerous times for work that is totally deserving, like in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Memoirs of a Geisha. Yeah, it doesn't look good to award the same people over and over again, especially if they're from a privileged position or background. This is Michelle Yeoh's first Oscar nomination. It shouldn't be, but it is. She's put in the work, earned her status as an icon of the screen, but hasn't reaped the same accolade rewards that Blanchett has been afforded throughout her career. But again, having said all that, this should be about the quality of the performances and not about race or ethnicity. And so what if Cate Blanchett is white? She is absolutely, unequivocally deserving of an Oscar win for this performance. I haven't met a single person that disagrees with me on that. I have, however, met people that disagree and say Michelle Yeoh shouldn't win, but that's their problem and I pity them for that. The real challenge here, though, is trying to decide between 2 equally deserving performances that have different merits. It's no wonder the race is this tight. I also think that Blanchett is very aware of the fact that if she does win over Michelle Yeoh, then she's going to receive a lot of unnecessary and unwarranted flack and hate that she beat Michelle Yeoh. Side note, if Cate Blanchett does win the Oscar, please do not attack her and send her hate messages, and the same goes for Michelle Yeoh. These women have absolutely no control over who wins here. And just because you have a personal preference does not mean that the other one is not deserving of the win. Because Lord knows I've seen some truly truly ugly and disgusting comments online about who should win this. Anyway, back to my point that I was trying to make. Now this is just speculation, but I actually think that Cate Blanchett doesn't really want to win. Partly because of the backlash, but mostly because I genuinely think she wants to see someone else like Michelle Yeoh win. Cate Blanchett is a smart woman and she knows how invested society gets in trivial things like awards, but she also understands the value of what they mean and represent. And as she's genuine friends with Michelle Yeoh and an admirer of her work and knows that this is Michelle Yeoh's career-defining role and knows what an incredible career Michelle Yeoh has had and how little recognition she's had for it, I think she would rather see Michelle Yeoh finally celebrated than her collect another Oscar. I genuinely believe this because of how Cate Blanchett has come across during awards season. Her speech at the Critics' Choice was telling because she spent more time uplifting other women than, acknowledging all the hard work that she'd done. And even though the speech ruffled some feathers, I think it was intentional. I think it was subtextually her trying to tell voters that I'm grateful for this honor, but I don't need it. Please don't vote for me. There are other women that this means far more to, and to history in general if Michelle Yeoh wins. That's how awesome Cate Blanchett is. She would rather share the platform with other women than hog it all to herself. She's so freaking selfless, which just makes me love her more. Plus, she always seems more happier when another woman's name is called out. She's more happy for their victory. And you just know she would be the first one up on her feet leading a standing ovation if Michelle Yeoh did win the Oscar. Anyway, what else is working against Blanchett? One thing that I did want to bring up was that I do think there is a double standard at play when it comes to straight actors playing queer roles. Like, I've seen plenty of people online getting in a huff because Brendan Fraser's playing a gay man, and apparently that's a big no-no these days, but Cate Blanchett is also playing a queer character, and there's very few people making a tiff out of that. Yeah, I don't get it, but maybe there are some voters that will be like, well, she is playing a queer character. Maybe this should have gone to a queer identifying actor, not her. I'm not saying I agree with that mentality. I think actors should be allowed to play beyond what, they personally identify as. But it's just something I wanted to bring up. Blanchett does have to defy some seriously stacked odds in order for her to become the second ever person and the first ever woman to win 3 Oscars for acting in less than 20 years. Only Walter Brennan has that bragging right. He's won 3 times for Best Supporting Actor between 1937 and 1941. But if anyone were to do it, I would put my money on Cate Blanchett. She is indisputably one of the finest performers of not only her generation, but of all time. Her presence in a movie makes anything immediately better. Just look at last year with Don't Look Up and Nightmare Alley. That wasn't a read, by the way, but this is just my truth, that Cate Blanchett's presence in those movies made them better. The best parts of those movies for me were the scenes involving Cate Blanchett. And those 2 performances couldn't have been more different from one another, okay? She really is a true chameleon. Her range is unparalleled. But when we compare her movie to Michelle's, Tar isn't as strong of a contender at the Oscars as Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's got some great nominations in key categories, but Everything Everywhere does have more. It's 6 for Tar, 11 for Everything Everywhere. Tar is also one of those movies which left a lot of viewers feeling a bit cold. It's a very prestigious type of film. Perhaps it's a little too highbrow for some voters. So yeah, Everything Everywhere is more beloved to the masses than Tar. Tar is more of a cinephile's movie, whereas Everything Everywhere is more of a popcorn movie. It's made for everyone. But I do think the Academy is going to want to honor Tar, and Blanchett makes the most sense for a win. Now let's talk about Michelle Yeoh, okay? What is working for her? Well, for starters, her film received the most nominations at the Academy Awards this year. Everything Everywhere received 11 nominations in total, evidencing that there is a lot of love for this film. And Everything Everywhere All at Once is one of those films which has broad appeal. Critics liked it, audiences liked it, industry liked it, so all of that helps Michelle Yeoh. Everything Everywhere is surging in popularity right now. It's actually tipped to win Best Picture at the Oscars, but I'm knocking on wood because I do not want to jinx it. But I do agree that right now it feels poised to be the big winner of the night. I think it is gonna probably be the most awarded film of the night. The question is though, will Michelle Yeoh be part of its winner's package? If the Academy really loves the film, then they might go all in on Everything Everywhere All at Once, giving it Best Picture, Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor for Ke Huy Quan, Editing, and Best Actress for Michelle Yeoh. It seems fitting to me that if you're gonna shower Everything Everywhere with Oscars, then Michelle Yeoh should come as part of that package, because like Cate Blanchett in Tar, Michelle Yeoh is Everything Everywhere All at Once, okay? She is the heart and soul of that film, and a Best Actress win for Michelle Yeoh would pair nicely with the Best Picture win for Everything Everywhere. However, there is a counter argument to be made that if Everything Everywhere does win several Oscars, including Best Picture, will some Academy voters think that winning Best Picture is enough acknowledgement for this film and they don't need to give, Best Actress to Michelle Yeoh when they can be diplomatic and make sure Tar walks away with something, like giving Cate Blanchett the win for Best Actress? In terms of precursors and critics wins, Michelle Yeoh does have slightly more wins in critics groups than Blanchett, although Blanchett won the big three that I mentioned before. And she does have the Golden Globe comedy and SAG. The SAG is important because SAG implies that she has the support of the acting branch, and actors do make up the largest portion of the Academy membership. The SAGs have matched at the Oscars 20 out of 28 times in Best Actress since SAG's inception. That takes us to 1994. If we look at the BAFTA winners all the way back to 1994, Best Actress only matched 16 out of 28 times at BAFTAs and Oscars. So you would think that the SAGs would be more reliable, but prior to Joanna Scanlon's win last year, the last 8 years in a row matched at BAFTA and Oscars, meaning that in more recent years, BAFTA has actually been a more reliable precursor to predict the outcome of Best Actress at the Oscars. But remember, this year's running order of the precursors was a little bit out of sync this year. Normally it goes SAGs, then BAFTAs, then Oscars, but this year it went BAFTAs, then SAGs. And what's even more surprising was the 4 acting winners from BAFTA and SAG had 0 matches. Like, there wasn't a single person that won at both ceremonies. In the 22 years that BAFTAs have been a precursor to the Oscars, we've always had at least 1 acting winner win at SAG and BAFTA. This year we had 0. So I'm actually wondering if the slightly different running order this year could benefit Michelle Yeoh in some way. Like her last minute win at the SAG, coupled with her emotional speech about being the first ever Asian woman to win Best Actress in a Leading Role at SAG, as well as Everything Everywhere's historical victory sweep at SAG, winning 4 SAG Awards, the most of any film ever at SAG. Could all that be enough to take her across the finish line to the Oscars? Now that people have witnessed the excitement that comes from a film like Everything Everywhere winning these prizes, you only have to look at the award ceremonies. It's not just the people that worked on Everything Everywhere, it's everyone in the room. Everyone gets so excited when this film wins something, as well as everyone having an understanding now of the historical and cultural significance of having someone like Michelle Yeoh, and to an extent Ke Huy Quan as well, winning these acting prizes. All of that is going to be fresh in people's minds after the SAGs, and I'm wondering if that is going to influence them to vote for Michelle Yeoh. She's also someone who is viewed as someone overdue for recognition, particularly at the Oscars. Even though this is her first Oscar nomination, the fact that she was snubbed for performances like in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and Memoirs of a Geisha might actually help her here, because she was snubbed for 2 very worthy performances, but now that they've finally given her a nomination, now's the time to make up for those previous snubs by giving her the Oscar. And like I said previously, Cate Blanchett's performance definitely feels more Academy accessible for a Best Actress performance. Yes, her performance might be in a genre mashup of comedy, sci-fi, action, kung fu, family drama, existential crisis. That's an obstacle in itself, but there is no denying the skill and tenacity that Michelle Yeoh brings to her multi-layered performance as struggling laundromat owner / savior of the multiverse Evelyn Wang in Everything Everywhere All at Once. There's just no denying the versatility that is on display from Michelle Yeoh in this film. Everything Everywhere allowed Michelle Yeoh to flex her skills in ways that she hadn't always been granted before. She showed off her multilingual grasp of language, switching from English to Cantonese to Mandarin, whilst also being emotionally vulnerable. She showed off her comedic timing and physicality. She also got to show off her emotional range. Even in the more absurd moments of Everything Everywhere, Michelle Yeoh beautifully conveys a lifetime's worth of hardships, disappointments, regrets, longing, and yes, joy, all through her body language and eyes, all the while navigating a plethora of iterations of the same character. And of course, because she's Michelle Yeoh, she still did a bunch of her own stunts and action choreography where she could. It just makes me ask myself, what more could she possibly have to do to win an Oscar? But yeah, this role was made for her. Honestly, I don't think there's another actress on the planet that could have done a better job than she does. But I could also say the same thing about Cate Blanchett. I'm not sure there is another actress on the planet that could have done as good a job as she did playing Tar. And again, like Michelle Yeoh, it's another career-defining role for Cate Blanchett. But the difference is here, Cate Blanchett's had several career-defining roles, okay? This really feels like Michelle Yeoh's signature, definitive career-defining role. You know, the one that people will affiliate her with the most and the one that should be best remembered for. It truly is the culmination of 40 years of hard work and perseverance through all the setbacks and adversity that she's faced in an industry which often overlooks actors of Asian descent. Michelle Yeoh definitely has a narrative on her side. If she wins, she becomes the first Malaysian person to win an Oscar ever, and also the first Southeast Asian woman to ever win Best Actress, and only the second ever woman of color to win Best Actress after Halle Berry won in 2001. There are children that were born the year that Halle Berry won her Oscar that are legally old enough to drink now in America. That's how much time has passed since Halle Berry won the Oscar for Monsters Ball. You would think it would be about time now that the second woman of color would win in this category. 94 years and only one woman of color winning leading actress. That's kind of disgraceful, isn't it? But we have been disappointed by the Oscars in this category before. In 2020, they could have given Viola Davis the win for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. She won the SAG Award, but they decided to go with Frances McDormand, who already had two, but did win the BAFTA. History could repeat itself, but the 2020 race is different to this year because Viola Davis wasn't in a Best Picture contender, Frances McDormand was, and Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett are both in Best Picture contenders. But will they go with the BAFTA winner like they usually do in recent years, or go with the SAG winner? It's interesting that Parasite did win Best Picture a few years ago. That was a watershed landmark victory for the Oscars, a first of its kind, but none of the actors from the cast were nominated that year. Everything Everywhere All at Once is also a bit of a runaway success, like Parasite. And it's so nice to see this year that the Academy did nominate several actors of Asian descent. But it is about damn time that we had our first ever Asian Best Actress winner. In 95 years of Academy history, we've only ever had two women of Asian descent be nominated for lead actress. Merle Oberon in 1936, and now Michelle Yeoh. That's really sad, isn't it? I've said it before, and I've said it again, okay? It's time. And truly, Michelle Yeoh does make a lot of sense to be the chosen champion to do so. Like, her whole career has been about breaking barriers. She's a respected, popular, and beloved member of the industry, and Lord knows she has paid her dues. Her on-screen daughter, Stephanie Hsu, has even said that Michelle Yeoh has blazed the trail for other young Asian girls to follow in her footsteps. And it makes even more sense to give it to her for this performance because this is undeniably the performance of her career. How cool would it be to say that Michelle Yeoh's iconic role as Evelyn Wang in Everything Everywhere All at Once was the performance to be the first ever Best Actress Asian winner at the Oscars, okay? The performance that broke the glass ceiling. It just makes so much sense. It feels right. And one of the great joys of looking back at Oscars history is when you see an actor win for a career-defining role. Think Kathy Bates in Misery, Diane Keaton in Annie Hall, Louise Fletcher in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Julia Roberts in Erin Brockovich, and Vivien Leigh in Gone with the Wind. What do all of these performances have in common? They were all iconic characters that have stood the test of time and are still talked about and still referenced to this day, and all of the actresses portraying them won Best Actress at the Oscars. Mark my words, the character of Evelyn Wang has the potential and the capacity to become one of the most iconic movie characters of all time. In fact, it kind of feels like she already is. So why don't we commemorate that with an Oscar? Sure, you can make the same argument for Lydia Tarr, for Cate Blanchett, but in terms of impact on the cultural zeitgeist, Evelyn Wang is more significant. What other Oscar-winning performances do you consider to be iconic, career-defining roles? It can be in any acting category. Whatever you think, let me know in the comment section below. But what's working against Michelle Yeoh? Well, in terms of precursor wins, she is at a slight disadvantage. She does have the Golden Globe and the SAG, but she lost the Critics' Choice to Blanchett, where she was supposed to win there. She wasn't expected to win at BAFTA. That was supposed to go to Blanchett, and it did, but it does help to have the BAFTA in order to win the Oscar. I've read online that some people have found Michelle Yeoh's acceptance speeches a little aggressive. Personally, I found the profanity in her SAG acceptance speech charming and very real, and some people weirdly bothered by her Golden Globes acceptance speech. You know, when she said, "Shut up, I can kick your ass." Like, some people found it rude, and I thought it was rude that they were playing the Get Off the Stage music, because she has been waiting her whole career to be on a stage accepting a major award like that, okay? Like, it's taken decades to get there, and I think it was rude to try and, you know, force her out of it. So I actually thought she diffused the situation with humor. I thought she did a great job, and I just found her charming again. So yeah, people having a beef about Michelle Yeoh's acceptance speeches, I don't know where you're coming from. And I know she has the whole history-making narrative on her side, but as we've seen in recent years, having a narrative isn't necessarily a good thing at the Oscars. We've seen in recent past that the Academy has the chance to, you know, honor someone for a sentimental reason, like Chadwick Boseman, or, you know, give Viola Davis the win as the second ever black actress to win for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but they didn't take it. So just because they've got the chance to make history doesn't mean they're necessarily going to take it. But what I would say is Michelle Yeoh's biggest obstacle to overcome in this race is genre bias. Let's face it, Everything Everywhere is not the typical type of Academy movie. Like, it's a bonkers, wild, goofy genre mashup of sci-fi and comedy. And like Colin Farrell for Best Actor at the Oscars this year, there isn't any previous Best Actress Oscar-winning performance that I can compare Michelle Yeoh's to, okay? There's no precedent for awarding a performance like this. So she really needs to overcome the prejudice of a genre film performance being seen as worthy enough to win Best Actress. But again, if Everything Everywhere All at Once can potentially win Best Picture, and book the tradition there, then why can't Michelle Yeoh, the star of that film, do the same? So yeah, Yeoh winning would be a game-changer win, not only because she's opened the door for more Asian winners to follow in the future, but it also changes the rules on the types of roles that the Academy will honor for Best Actress. She will set a precedent that performances in sci-fi films can go on to win Best Actress. And I'd argue that's all the more reason to give it to Michelle Yeoh, because it breaks boundaries. It'll be so refreshing to see something other than a Beatty biopic performance win in this category. It's a win that's cool and would age so wonderfully because it's so different to all the other Best Actress types of performance that we usually see win. It's why performances like Natalie Portman's in Black Swan or Kathy Bates's in Misery are so cherished and beloved, because performances like those very rarely win at the Oscars, therefore making them more special. So yeah, I am just so down to see a performance like Michelle Yeoh's honored at the Oscars. But the question is, who is gonna walk away with that Best Actress Oscar? I am so torn on this one. I keep going back and forth. Again, both performances are equally worthy in my eyes. Very different performances, yes, but both show Yeoh and Blanchett working at the peak of their abilities, and they're both career-defining roles. Both are multilingual performances as well. Blanchett's switching between German and English, and Yeoh's doing English, Cantonese, and Mandarin. In terms of who had the bigger challenge there, it's hard to say. Yeoh is flipping between 3 languages. She had experience in Cantonese, but she had to learn Mandarin for Crouching Tiger and for Everything Everywhere. It's not her primary language. Blanchett had to learn German from the ground up, and even when she's speaking in English, you can still hear the notes of German in her accent, flawlessly I might add. But both were presented with challenging roles, and both were up to the task. Both of their films asked a lot of them with their skill sets, again for different reasons. Like Cate Blanchett was playing the accordion, and Michelle Yeoh was doing a lot of intense stunt work and choreography. Both performances required a lot of physicality, like when Lydia is composing, and with Michelle Yeoh, it's pretty much every time she verse jumps. Both of them played complex fictional women, which required a lot of dexterity and versatility to play, and both of them are the films that they star in, okay? Cate Blanchett is Tar, and Michelle Yeoh is Everything Everywhere All at Once. And you wonder why people are so torn on who's gonna win this category. Could we, in fact, see a tie happen here? honestly, it's not impossible. It's slim. Like, we haven't seen it happen since Katharine Hepburn and Barbra Streisand in 1969. But at this point, I'm kind of praying for a tie. Honestly, like, this is about as close to 50-50 that we've ever had in a category before. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing it happen because then we have two winners. Like, no one's upset that their favorite lost, or there's no backlash to that. Actually, saying that, there would still be some people complaining that there was a tie. But no, I don't think a tie is going to happen. When it comes down to who I personally want to see win, I'm team Michelle Yeoh. Again, I love both performances, but Everything Everywhere All at Once was my favorite film of 2022, and I have been a fan of Michelle Yeoh's for years. Also, I know the importance and significance of Everything Everywhere All at Once for Michelle Yeoh, okay? This is the role of her lifetime. Let's honor her as an industry icon by honoring the role of her career. It's fitting, it feels right, and it's about damn time we had our first ever Asian Best Actress winner at the Oscars. And let's face it, this may be Michelle Yeoh's only chance to win Best Actress. Leading female performances for women in their 60s and above are few and far between, and let's face it, they're even fewer for minority actors. And we know that Cate Blanchett isn't going to face the same type of struggles that Michelle Yeoh will. We know she's going to have plenty more opportunities, loads more starring roles, and she's probably going to win a truckload of more awards in her lifetime. But this is Michelle Yeoh's best chance, and I really want the Academy to make it happen for her. And I'm just going to clarify this now. Michelle Yeoh doesn't deserve to win Best Actress because she's a minority and she has a chance to make, Oscars history. She deserves to win Best Actress because she's earned it for playing the role of a lifetime, and I'm convinced there's not a single actress on the planet that could have done a better job than Michelle Yeoh. The fact that she gets to make history is just the cherry on top of a very deserving win. But will the Academy give her the win? Are they just gonna succumb to genre bias once again? A few weeks ago, I was getting despondent that it wasn't going to happen because Blanchett was sweeping, but after the BAFTAs and the SAGs, I started changing my mind. But what changed my mind? Honestly, it was James Hong's speech at the SAGs after the cast won SAG Ensemble. I think James Hong is actually the key to Michelle Yeoh's potential victory. Seeing this industry veteran who's been just as overlooked, if not more than Michelle Yeoh, talking about his experiences as an Asian actor through 7 decades of Hollywood and seeing its growth and transition from doing yellowface and actors taping their eyes up to where we are now, where Parasite won Best Picture a few years ago, and more films like Minari and The Farewell and Everything Everywhere All at Once are being celebrated finally. And yeah, it just shows how far Hollywood has come. It's so wonderful now that we're finally starting to see an embrace and celebration of Asian told stories by Asian filmmakers and Asian actors. And now it's time that we finally acknowledge, a Best Actress winner who is Asian. I think James Hong's speech is really gonna get through to voters. Plus, if you factor in the fact that there were 0 wins for anyone of color at the BAFTAs this year, along with the kind of egregious snubs of 2 black actresses for lead actress this year, with Danielle Deadwyler and Viola Davis being snubbed, then giving the award to Michelle Yeoh helps to clean up their image a bit, and it shows inclusivity as well. So here's my truth on the Best Actress category this year. If Cate Blanchett does end up winning, and there's a very strong chance that she will, I'll be very happy for her because it's 1000% deserved, but I will be a bit disappointed because Cate Blanchett doesn't need the win like Michelle Yeoh does, okay? My heart belongs to Michelle Yeoh, and I really want to see her win her first than Cate Blanchett win her third. Michelle Yeoh is an icon, she is the moment, and she deserves it. Which is why I am going with my heart, and I'm going to predict that the Best Actress Oscar 2023 will go to Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I may be setting myself up for a major disappointment, but I want to take the chance on Michelle Yeoh. Please don't let me down, Academy. There you have it, guys. That's my prediction for the 2023 Best Actress Oscar. Who do you think is going to win in this category? Let me know in the comment section below. For more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to click subscribe. I've got another deep dive discussion video on Best Supporting Actress, as well as my final Oscar predictions video, so yeah, stay tuned for that. And for more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and I'll see you next time.